Two, and one, and I believe that we are live, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you, welcome, joining the Black Geeks for a special edition. This evening, we wanted to talk to you about a controversy that came up today, and give you some background perspective. There was some news reported earlier today that a number of news outlets, and a lot of comic outlets as well, talking about this variant cover. Let's see if I can pull it up here for you. It's a cover with Batgirl and the Joker, and evidently it's gotten a whole lot of attention. Twitter's been a buzz with it. There was even a something on CNN about it, and I guess maybe it's wrong for me to try to broadcast this. Let me actually turn my color on. One of the rare times I'll turn my color on. So there you see, that's kind of the picture of see, can I get, yeah. So you got the Joker and you got Batgirl, and she's got the Joker makeup on her face, and he's got the gun and everything. But I think that where a lot of folks, don't understand, maybe some folks know the history, maybe some people don't. So what we want to do tonight is, as Black Geeks, is educate you, and we have our comic book expert on. Ladies and gentlemen, I do have the incomparable, the Royal Highness King Phayce. What's going on, Phayce?
None, chilling,
Chilling,
chilling.
chilling, chilling.
Yeah.
Right. And so what we want to do is we wanted to give you some background of how this came about, to give you some context, and because some of the articles that are out there don't give enough context as to why. So being the people, the people's champ, we wanted to kind of educate you. So I'm going to turn it over to King Phayce. King Phayce, if you could tell us tell the people the history, break it down for them, and then hit them with your commentary.
All right. So basically, what you have is this picture is paying homage to one of the comics that came out. I want to say it was around '93 or so. It was called The Killing Joke. Okay, it was a comic basically depicting. It is a comic about Joker and the Batman and their common struggle, but it mostly dealt with how the Joker, to prove his point about to Batman about how it's all worthless. His grand plan in this particular comic was to break down someone who he felt had morals, and in this particular comic, it was Commissioner Gordon. And to do so, what he did was he broke into his house, shot his daughter in the stomach, paralyzing her, beat him, kidnapped him, stripped him naked, and basically tormented him with pictures of his daughter in compromising positions, naked or whatever. This was done, like I said, this was done in that comic, and it was a turning point. It was a powerful point because it was one of those points where heroes get dealt a devastating blow. Barbara Gordon was Batwoman at the time, and she had been fighting crime alongside Bruce Wayne as Batman for some time at that point, and she basically was one of the Joker's many victims, um, playing to that point of testing Batman's resolve as far as not killing and doing things by the book, because that's always been a common occurrence throughout the Batman mythos as far as the Joker is concerned. Every time they capture him, and they don't do more than just capture him, he gets away and does some crazy violent stuff that often leads to many people dying, including characters and that are considered you know main characters. So that was basic. That's basically that was the basis of that particular comic, and so this cover is supposed to be in homage to that, because Barbara Gordon is always that is her moment. Um, if you go through comic book history, every hero, and this is me giving my personal thing, every hero has that moment where they are brought down low by a villain that finally either gets the better of them and they're forced to have to show their resolve to climb out of it. For Barbara Gordon, for Batwoman, that was her moment. She was paralyzed. and her father was kidnapped. And in the panels of the comics, that was a blow to her. Not only was she shot, not only was she humiliated, not only was she paralyzed, and not only did they take away from her, you know, the thing that made her feel alive was being Batwoman, but they kidnapped her father, and she was more worried about her father than she was herself in the comic. So that was her thing. And every time, even though everything turned out, they rescued him in the end, every time she sees a Joker, that's her panic point, and that is her thing that she has to get over to move on to do her next step to be a hero. So that's basically what this cover is depicting. You know, the what basically what the Joker put her through was one of the lowest moments of her life. Um, I I don't, and if you understand that context, because here's the problem for anyone who had an issue, because they pulled the variant cover, and it's a variant cover for people that don't know what a variant cover. A variant cover is basically like a collector's edition type thing. They'll have the cover that comes out that you'll probably see in most of the stores in America, and then they have the variant cover that you can order on your own. You can expressly say, I want the variant cover, and you can get that as a collector's edition or whatever. And they have those throughout history, and you can say, I have the variant cover for Spider-Man 101, the time where Mary Jane gets ate by an octopus or some crazy stuff like that. And so this was the variant cover. And whether it was a variant cover or not is irrelevant. I thought it was a great cover. I thought it was awesome. It was nicely done. It was nice artwork, and I think it it brought to the forefront how what it was like for Batwoman. That was her thing. The Joker represents to her biggest failure in her mind, and her biggest cross to bear, her biggest pit to cross is the Joker. And here's the thing that bothers me. They pulled it down because someone was upset. Someone is crying that it makes her look like a victim. Newsflash, she was a victim. That's the whole point. The Joker was the one. And the other thing you got to understand is it's comic books. There are heroes and villains. Batwoman is a hero. Every hero, man, woman, or child, has that moment. So to say that she can't have her moment because she's a woman, to me, it's counterproductive to what you're trying to accomplish. Because you could go through every character, man and woman. We could go through all the male characters. Batman had his moment. Probably had multiple, but had his moment in 90, was it 93, 94 in the comic Nightfall, when he finally meets Bane, a being who is just as physically strong with him and has the same kind of skills as he does combat wise, and he ultimately bests him in battle and breaks his back, leaving him low for a year. Superman had his strength where he was murdered in the street by a damn doomsday. I mean, everyone has this moment, and Batwoman has hers. And the whole point of why we read comics, because we want to see the hero show their perseverance, and she did. But I think this argument is counterproductive. It's counterproductive on 1,000 different levels. Like, she's a woman, it shouldn't show her. Of course it should, and that was the whole point of it. And I think you will only get upset if you never read the comic. If you saw that cover and you never read the comic, then I still don't see why you're upset. I mean, it's the Joker. Newsflash: the Joker's a bad guy, and he's not just a bad guy. He's historically known for being a sociopath, a psychopath, a mass murderer, a killer. That's his thing, and that was always the reason why him and Batman made such a good hero and villain, because it was the hero who doesn't want to kill with the villain who doesn't have no problem with killing, and they always come into their little thing. And so I really think pulling it down was a bad idea. Obviously, if you're not hearing the tone of my rant, I think it's a bad idea for many reasons. But it wasn't. I don't think it was necessary to have this. It was demeaning towards women. I really don't see that. I if you, like I said, if you read the comment, if you understood the character, then you wouldn't see that. In fact, this is the moment, one of the moments of her greatest ascendance to being a hero, because she got over it. She went past it, and she proved that the Joker couldn't hold her down. But it was hard for her throughout comic history. The Joker was the one villain that she came across that for real bothered her. But that was his case for many characters. I mean, no one was tripping when Joker beat Robin to death with a crowbar. He did that. So, and that was his problem. He had to deal with the Joker and his mental issues as far as getting over what happened to him. Well, in that comic, it was all crazy because he actually ended up killing him. But whatever. But you get my point. I mean, I think, I think, I think the only people that will truly have a problem is people that don't read comics, and as opposed to, or the people who claim to be geeks, claim to be comic book readers, and then they see that and then want to be up in arms. Then that just proves that you really aren't into comics, because you would have been raising this issue a while ago, or so you would understand what the comic was representing. And I don't feel like it should have been pulled. I don't feel like it was discriminatory towards women. I think, every hero in every comic book mythos has this moment, and to try to deprive it of her simply because she's a woman, I think is counterproductive to whatever cause you claim you're champion.
Yeah, and it's interesting because when we look at what's happening today in comics, where you're seeing more female characters coming out. You're seeing the comic books really trying to be more culturally sensitive and adding more diversity as well. You wouldn't think that there would be this kind of backlash at this point. But I think that you made the point fairly clearly that, regardless of the advances that they've made in comic books, if people just see it and don't understand the context, and I don't want to say, I'm not here to say that everyone who disagrees doesn't know. And I'm sure there's some people who just, they just have their opinions on it. But, I'm glad that you made the time to at least try to explain to people not only what a variant cover is, but why this particular cover was so very important. So, thanks, King Phayce. Any closing thoughts before we close out?
Yeah, man. Yeah, I need to stop being so damn sensitive. It's getting old, man. Stop being so sensitive. I was going through Twitter feed, and a lot of people. The crazy part about it is, it only takes a handful of people, I guess, because I'm reading Twitter, and I didn't read every single one, but I read like over 100 tweets. I went through the entire feed. I retweeted a few of them that I thought were funny. A lot of people is pretty much saying the same thing. Don't pull the cover, but they already pulled it because I guess they had enough backlash. Even if there was more people that supported the cover than didn't support the cover, all it takes is those handful of people who don't support the cover to get some of this stuff put. And you're playing a dangerous game, because now every time someone don't like to see something in comics, then they're going to ask it to be pulled, and it's not. Then it just ain't for you. And it just ain't for you, and I think it's unfair. I mean, I think it's annoying more than unfair. It's annoying because this gets old, and we do this in every respect. We say that us too much violence. It's the damn Joker. That clearly you don't read comics, because he's been violent this entire time. He ain't changed in the last 70 plus years. He's been violent. He ain't changed. You just don't pay attention, and I think we too sensitive about a lot of stuff, and we need to back off, because I'm telling you, you're making things worse, and you're using your kids. Some people, the kids, I don't want my son reading. Your son read it already and reads worse on a regular basis. You need to shut up with that. I think you're too sensitive, people. Stop.
Right. This isn't the joke man of the joke man. This isn't the Joker of the Adam West era. This is not that Joker. And it's funny because when I saw it, the controversy, especially about the Joker, I thought back to the Batman and Robin comic. I think I shot that to you, Death in the Family, where he captured everyone. He captured everyone. He had everyone. He had everybody from the Red Hood to Damian and even Alfred. He had everyone. The dude wore a skin mask. I mean, you couldn't.
Yeah, I remember that one. Yeah, I remember that. See, that's my point. Throughout comics, I mean, even when they did the one where they buried Batman, and Batman ended up getting buried alive. Joker shows up. There was like a cadre of like Illuminati, if you will, wanted to take Batman out, and Joker shows up and he says, "I want entry into this gang," and they're like, "Well, you got to have money," and he slits the throat of the highest paid person. It was like, "Well, I just took his money." That's the Joker, son. That's the Joker. That's always been the Joker. or the time where they did the infinite, one of the Infinite Crisis ones where Alexander Luthor, which is a version of Lex Luthor in a different universe, stupid. But he tries to take over, and then he ends up losing, and the Lex Luthor on this Earth pretty much ambushes him out in the street and was like, you may have called me stupid, but you're the dumbest one of all. You know what you did wrong? You didn't allow the Joker to play your game. And the Joker shows up in the alley, pulls out a gun, and shoots him between the eyes with a damn Smith and Wesson. That's the Joker. That's always been the Joker. Over the top, violent.
Right. Gangster. Straight gangster.
There's nothing. I mean, you don't. Batman has his share of bubblegum villains, but Joker ain't one of them. Never has been. And so to be shocked and surprised I'm shocked and surprised that you're shocked and surprised. Be honest, because that's what he do. And I just, there's always like this push to make the comic books grittier. So they did that. Now, like I said, Joker's always been that, but they get darker, and then you complain when they get too dark. Really, and I think it's time to just back off, grow up. That's the world sometimes. Sometimes the world is dark. Sometimes it's unfair. And sometimes you get dealt a blow and you have to get up. And that's what makes comics fun to read, because you get to see it. You get to see it like, okay, this hero. A lot of people do it. I mean, you get a lot of people do it. Well, I'm going to be like Batman when he faces adversity. He just changes his voice like this, and then he maintains. So you run around your regular life talking about I'm going to get above this. Whatever floats your boat. But that's comics. It shows them. It gives you that whole, and you can do anything that's possible if you put your mind to it. But you want to sensitize. You want to get all sensitive with it and prove that you can't. I just think it's dumb. So at the end of the day, y'all need to stop being so sensitive and grow the hell up.
There you go. That's final words from King Phayce. Ladies and gentlemen, thanks for joining us. Make sure you like us on Facebook at the Black Geeks. Check us out. Follow us on Twitter, because we're going to be doing a lot of these one-off shows, trying to just give you some commentary, giving you some geeky information, and just, as we did here, the King Phayce brought you the funk tonight and told you, don't be so sensitive, people. But make sure you follow us on Twitter, because that's the best place to find out when we're going to do some shows and talk to you guys. And the best thing, hey, you can also go to www.theblackgeeks.com. Shows are listed on the right-hand side. All the shows we've been doing for the last 2 years almost. So check us out. King Phayce, thanks so much, man. Thanks for making the time to educate the people. Appreciate it.
No problem.
All right, you guys.
Be shown. Sassy bitch.
Oh, come on. We almost made it.
It's got
I'm going to go back and bleep that one. I got to do that. But we'll be back Sunday, 10:30 p.m. for our regular live show. Thanks, guys. Appreciate it. Peace.